Well, folks, here we are. It is the Friday before Election Day, just 4 days to go. We don't have a show on Monday, so last time I'm going to be talking to you on this show on All In. I will, of course, be there Sunday night for our special. I'll be there Tuesday night as well. I imagine you have a lot of feelings in your body. You're feeling anxious at some level. I am too. We don't know what will happen on Tuesday, genuinely. And the thing that is anxiety producing is that none of us individually has any control. The outcome of this election will be determined by the aggregated decisions of 150 million of our fellow citizens. And that's really nerve-wracking. Honestly, it can be sort of terrifying, but it's also the whole point of democracy. The old saying goes that it's the worst system of government except for all the others that have been tried. And during the Trump years, there have certainly been times when I didn't know what to think or feel about a lot of the people with whom I share this country and who they want to lead it. But voting alongside them is still better than any other option. I mean, it's better than just letting Donald Trump decide, and it's better than letting someone I like decide. The whole point is that no one person, no individual chooses our leader and chooses what we all do together. Even the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, can't unilaterally control the outcome Tuesday night. And he is trying. $118 million. And it's corrupt and insane that he can under our current campaign finance regime. But he's desperate to effect an outcome that he cannot unilaterally control when he could unilaterally control just about everything else in his life. The genius at the core of our democratic undertaking is that we all decide together for better or worse. That's true at the ballot box, and it's also true after the winner is announced. If Kamala Harris wins on Tuesday, a lot of us are going to be breathing an enormous sigh of relief. A lot of people are going to be celebrating. But even if that happens, it will still be the case that slightly less than 50% of our fellow citizens voted for a man who is just dangerous and manifestly unfit for the job and attempted to overthrow the republic. And that's not going to go away. And we're going to have to reconcile with those millions of Americans through democratic means, persuasion and organizing and civil society and discourse. In short, the work of democratic politics. Now, the worst case scenario may also happen. Donald Trump may win, and he may win outright, fair and square. Because sometimes majorities do collectively make really bad decisions. It happens. But I really want to be clear about this, about what happens on the other side of that mountain if I'm here at that desk talking to you in that eventuality. That will not be the end of the story, not at all. If Donald Trump wins the White House and returns to be president, he will absolutely try to do a lot of terrible, cruel, and dangerous things. There is no doubt about that. But it is just not a foregone conclusion he will succeed in them. Last time he failed to execute a lot of his bad ideas. And yes, as we have warned on this program time and time again, there are going to be fewer guardrails this time. It will 100% be more dangerous than the last time. But as Lawfare editor-in-chief Benjamin Wittes put it back in 2017, Donald Trump's malevolence is tempered by his incompetence. And there's no reason to believe that Trump and the people around him will all of a sudden become super competent if they step back in the Oval Office. And I have to stress that the other democratic mechanisms we have to protect ourselves and protect American democracy still exist. Civil society does not dissolve in an instant because someone wins an election, even a wannabe authoritarian. Public opinion doesn't go away. Persuasion to our neighbors and fellow citizens, the independent media, and the rights they have, we're still here. Fundamentally, to my core, I do not believe America is a fascist country. I do not believe we want authoritarianism. I know a lot of us totally understandably and rationally view the outcome of this election as a referendum on that idea, but I think that most of the people voting for Donald Trump don't see it in those terms, honestly. I still think, no matter the outcome, the broad majority of this country wants democratic self-rule, and that majority that wants democratic self-rule will still exist after Tuesday, after the winner is called, no matter who wins. If it is Donald Trump, all of us in that pro-democracy majority will have to work together to thwart his worst impulses. Because in the end, all we have in a Democratic Republic is each other. Sometimes that can be really scary, even panic-inducing. But it's what we have, and it's better than anything else.